Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. And welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be with you all today. Good to see you. Good to see a Bad Roxy. Good to see a Kit. Good to see a Brayherd. Good to see a Bubble. Good to see a Step Zero. Good to see a Quacksplat. I think that's everyone. I got everyone. All right, yes. And congratulations, Kit. You have claimed the crown of Firstendom, the crown of Yoshi's. I'm sure everything will be fine with the perfectly fine Yoshis. Anyway, welcome back to Let Us Play. Today we're going to be doing Super Mario World. Love this game. It's a classic. Amazed I have not played it yet on stream. So yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's get on into it. Wahoo indeed. So fun fact, if you mess with the game and you like change something in this little scene, it really freaks out. You were correct about today's color because today's St. Agatha. Oh, you're gonna get the Galaxy 2 bundle on Switch? Welcome! This is Dinosaur Land. In this strange land, we find that Princess Toadstool is missing again. Oops! Looks like Bowser's at it again. Greetings, very typical. They probably were because so when we have during the week, how the readings will work is during ordinary time at least. It's usually like a book from the Bible will be chosen, generally Old Testament, sometimes New Testament, from the for the first reading. We'll just kind of work through it chronologically or a section of it. And then the gospel is usually kind of excerpts taken semi-chronologically, mostly around the works and preaching of Christ, not necessarily the infancy narratives or the crucifixion. And yeah, and for daily, so for a Sunday Mass or a solemnity, it's always Old Testament, Psalm, Epistle, Gospel, except during Easter. Anyway, but during daily Mass, it's typically just a first reading and the Gospel. Hey, Bree, you got Invisalign meep. So like we'll have that structure. So, like if you're reading each day, you know, you'll kind of get a story. But then there are the feast days that get thrown in, and they have their own readings, and because of that get tied to that particular saint, and so it's yeah. First reading is typically from the Old Testament. Sometimes it is from the New, but generally speaking, it's from the Old Testament. So let me see. What was yesterday's? So like yesterday we heard from 2 Samuel. So we've been hearing from 2 Samuel, and we'll keep hearing from 2 Samuel because we're kind of working through the story. And then, you know, we're almost at Lent, so Lent becomes its own thing. So it's instead of working its way through stories of the Old Testament, it's going to be focused on prophets, and so we're just going to get kind of individual prophets and stories, especially focusing on repentance. Regular meep, hey Darth. So yeah, but then you also get days like today where it's like, hello, surprise, saint, and so saints have their own readings that are relevant, that reflect their life and identity. So yes, yeah, Hannah is recognized as a canonized saint. Yeah, any person in the generally speaking, in the Old Testament that is considered righteous, we can and do recognize as saints. In fact, why don't I quickly look up St. Hannah's feast day. Hannah's she is listed as sometimes in the Orthodox tradition, they'll refer to a lot of Old Testament figures as a prophet, even if we don't necessarily use that word in the Western world. Um, so they'll call King David the prophet. Anyway, her feast day is December 9th, apparently. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bubble. My deepest condolences. Yeah, no, my prayers for condolences for you and for the repose of the soul of your grandmother and for your whole family. May angels lead her to paradise. Yeah, no. But yeah, say goodbye to her on Tuesday. It's good that you got to do that, but it's still tough. But, it's good to be here. But yeah, we're prayers for you, but we don't want to dwell on it because know that sometimes it is good just to have a space to decompress. So we're gonna after this, gonna go back to the Mario. The music's gonna start. It's gonna be great. But know of my prayers for you and for your grandmother. Well, yeah, Hannah prefigures the Magnificat. She prefigures really Mary in general. I think Mary and Elizabeth in many beautiful ways. That's the great thing sometimes. We have what in scriptural studies we have the word type, which and antitype. So type is a prefigurement of Christ. Ow. And antitype is the way that Christ or those around him fulfill it. And the great thing is that sometimes there are one thing can point to multiple things. Multivalent! That's the good word for it. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, the Mario music is a bop. Especially, they got so much right in World. Do-do. Do-do. Learned it from Jimmy Aiken. Nice. Yeah, multivalent's a fun word. Yoshi! Hooray! Thank you for rescuing me. My name is Yoshi! On my way to rescue my friends, Bowser trapped me in that egg! Also, you may have real subtle. Notice the drums. Notice the drums now. It's just like this really nice little subtle layering. Your interview went well. Hey, that's great. Biggest weakness right now is your portfolio. I don't know how to expand it when all my recent writings is exactly written. Yeah. Just write copy for different kinds of things. Do the rest of streaming Yoshi. The rest of streaming Yoshi voice. Yay! Would you rather that or oops, or the Mickey voice? Huh! I'm playing Super Mario World. Tough choice. Well, if you like interesting voices, Dr. Nigel Edward Farias is going to be back on Game of Favorites in the near future. Oh, come on. I am playing so badly right now. He is looking for an assistant. He'll actually be co-hosting an episode of Goff, looking for an assistant to help him in his perfectly normal endeavors. Do you feel that prophetic writing like Isaiah in Revelation should be multivalent because symbol? Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, if anyone ever tells you it's like, this thing in Isaiah, it means only this, like, it can mean that. I have a doubt that that's the only thing it means. That's kind of the beauty of our understanding of Scripture is divinely inspired, is the way that God is working with the human authors. And sometimes the authors themselves don't fully understand. Oh, sorry, Yoshi. Oh, sorry, Yoshi. Don't necessarily fully understand in the moment everything that they are referring to. And that's kind of beautiful. Is the LTV a filter? It is, yeah. I find for the SNES games it's particularly fun, but I can turn it off. Well, we've been talking a lot about the readings already, which is great. But today is the Feast of St. Agatha. She is one of the women listed in the Roman canon. That is a hugely important detail. She is a martyr. But the fact that she's listed in the Roman canon shows the way that spiritually she is a foundational building block of the Church of Rome. And therefore, we should probably pay attention to her example. We don't know a ton of detail. It's not as though she wrote an autobiography, but we do know the way that she lived for Christ and was ultimately martyred for it, and the witness that is. That's literally what martyr means. Martyr means witness. Do I post my homilies? I do not at this time in my life. If I am doing a mass here when it's live streamed, you can watch it. So like this last Sunday. I know some guys who like podcast them and stuff. I forget. Yeah, if I preach, we live stream a couple of masses. We live stream every noon mass during the week, and then we live stream our 10 and our 5 p.m. on Sundays. So if I have one of those, it gets recorded and broadcast, and is on YouTube for posterity. Yep, check the etymology. Nice. Yep. wondering if I ever went to her church in Rome. It's hard sometimes to keep track of which church in Rome you have been to. The written homily is not a homily. A homily takes place in the Mass. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair way of looking at it. But there is also a value of hearing words of wisdom, even if you cannot be at that particular Mass. Oh my! Oh no! There's an app you use 10 times. Etymolline. I may have to look to that. I do enjoy etymology as well. 1-5! Hey, Chizo. Oh no! I hath made ein mistake. You have to go buy paint, pray for your husband? Okay. That's an interesting combination, but sure. Helps you to learn Greek and Latin and some Germanic. That makes sense. Those are the three main routes we have. You're glad you don't have to unfollow any of your followed channels today so far? What happened? I hope you don't unfollow me. I mean, you're free to, but... Hey, your presence is greatly appreciated here. You're redecorating. Ah, okay. Ah. Well... I can safely say I'm not going to be doing any of that. I know sometimes people also cull their following list because they're just like, it's too many, I can't follow everyone and give them the time they deserve, which is valid. And... But when you put it that way, I was like, oh no! We'll see how it goes over the weekend, though. Not sure how long the thing's supposed to last. Valid. Now, I think I can get to the secret exit here with Yoshi or other shenanigans of flying if I really felt like it. I'm really bad at the flying mechanic in this game. Yoshi's your favorite Super Mario character? Yoshi is just, like, great. I know lots of people who love Yoshi. It's because flying mechanics are bad. I mean, yeah, but if you know what you're doing in this game in particular, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with flying mechanics. Like, I do love watching speedrunners. You've played a video game or two. Press X to doubt? I'm kidding. Never said I beat a video game. I've never been accused of that either. I forgot that's what was up there. Meep. There he is. He's here to help. Think you beat maybe 10 games? That's valid. You can be a gamer and never beat a video game. Some people only play video games that can never be beaten. There is no end to the spreadsheet. No, Yoshi. He'll be back. He'll always be back. Unless he runs into a pit. Falls, yes. Falls. On accident. Yes, it would never be from me attempting to get a higher jump. Perish the thought. There's actually one level where you have to do that to get the secret exit. Give a game a stern talking to? Oh yeah. Pretty sure I've done this done that on this channel. Welcome to the ghost house. Yoshi is too scared to go in. Listen here, cartridge. Whoop. You grounded a controller. You sit in timeout and you think about what you've done. Yeah, this unlocks the best thing in the game. Top secret area. Do you want spare one-ups? Do you want Yoshi? Do you want whatever power-up? Come and get it. It's free. Door of Blue. When I was a kid, I did not understand that you could control this with your controller. So I was just like, why is this line of coins just go to the wall? Oh, I should have brought my slide whistle down. I could have made that noise alongside it. Playing the whole level is too easy. That dewey whoop makes you think of TMBG's song, Here Come the ABCs. Huh. I'm trying to I'm going to believe, but it's been so long since I've listened to that TMBG song. It's been a while since I've listened to TMBG in general. I should fix that. There should be a third arm on this thing. It despawned. Why does everything break? Dang it, I had a really good rhythm going there. With getting the stars. Donut Plains. I love how a lot of these places are like food based. Like there's Donut Plains, there's Chocolate Hills. Letter shapes. Okay. No, oh, bye, Yoshi. That was an accident. I jumped. To be fair, this controller is as old as I am, so... "22 is an old controller." I'm not 22. You know that. In fact, 22 isn't canonically old enough to be a priest. Canonically, you have to be 25. Well, 24 and a half. The way it's worded is really odd in canon law. Because it says 25, but it's like, must be 25 or within 6 months of that. Also, 22 would just be old for a controller, to be fair. Usually the first fail point in Super Nintendo controllers is their start and select buttons because they're these, like, rubber jelly beans. What apparently a lot of the pros will do is they'll open them up and swap the start and select buttons when the start one starts failing. Because almost, I think of the like 40 some odd Super Nintendo games I own, like 2 use the select button. I like how each of the Koopa Kids has a unique boss fight mechanic. You know, the first one's the seesaw, which is very iconic at this point. This guy, well, you know, he did what he did. Morton Koopa Jr. of Castle Number 2 is now just a memory. The next area is the underground Vanilla Dome. What traps await Mario in this new world? What will become of Princess Toadstool? Sunday, 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 in the Vanilla Dome, it's Mario. Do. I always hated this room as a kid. But I also didn't understand the run button very well. I was not good at video games as a child. This underground maze is like so maze-like. I have 36 lives. Do you think that's going to be enough, chat? Fortunately, lives don't save when you turn off the console. Always found that a missed opportunity. Yeah. Okay, I know there's a secret exit in this world, or in this course I want to take. Because it gets me the red blocks. So if we don't find it on the first go, we'll try again on the second. Oh, there's 3 of them charging chucks. There's a lot of charging chucks. So I met with a couple the other night on Zoom to do talk about the upcoming baptism of their child, and I did the wedding for this couple 5 and a half, 6 years ago. It was 2020. So it was really cool to see that they have a kid and everything. And as we're talking, the wife turns to her husband and says, "Here, take the meatball." That's how they were referred. No! Stupid charging chuck. This is one of the ways they refer to their child. The meatball. It made me laugh. No! No! Oh, are you... This is the worst timeline. That charging chuck can glitch out pretty easily because it's supposed to break through those blocks. As we have noticed, sometimes it has a mind of its own. Although this is not... This is not where the secret is. I think I know where it is. It was a lot of fun getting to catch up with that couple and see their child. Aha! Key! And keyhole! Wow, the Switch Palace. Is this the ghost house I really hate, or just one I marginally hate? 'Cause I do not like the ghost houses at all. Actually, from like a design perspective, I like them, but like from a gameplay, I was like, meh, rather not. Nope, it's the one I really hate. I hate these green orbs. Perfectly normal noises. What's that? You took the first door. Guess what? That's not the exit. Hey, Trekkie. Merp. What is that emote? Oh, it is Mario. Okay, sorry. Without my glasses, and looking at it and it being small, it looks more like a flying spaghetti monster. And I think you can safely understand my confusion on that one. What? That was totally far enough to be flying. That's why I don't like the flying mechanic. When I tried to do something, I just dive bomb. How you doing today, Trekkie? This is why I hate the green orbs. Aha, there's the switch we need. This is the level where Blarg gets introduced to Mario. There he is. That's Blarg. Named such because of the noise it makes. Ow! I got sniped. That shell knew exactly where I was going to be. I can't believe Mario would dupe me like this. It's so rude. I almost jumped off into nothingness, and that would have been bad. Why? uh, I love and hate the cape. I far more prefer the Tanuki tail flying from 3. But again, in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, i.e. not me, some crazy things can happen with the cape. I think this level is really fun in its design. I love the springs. Go! I turned to look at chats. And the bullet bills saw their opportunity and attacked. Flawless. Absolutely flawless, except for those minor flaws. I won't worry about it. You have a pint and you're not afraid to use it. Ooh. Is it a pint of Guinness? You know, that's not that much paint, actually, now that I think about it, as in comparison to it, like a pint of Guinness. Pint of paint. Actually a quart. But spell check changed it to... Oh, that makes more sense. A quart. What about a quart of pints? I love that it is theoretically possible to beat the entire game ducking. Silly dry bones. Just get in the way. Hey there, Hope. When's DK64 stream? That will be a week from Friday. The 13th. Thank you. Mario's triumph over Lummy Koopa in the castle number 3. Mario's quest is starting to get much more difficult. Have you found the red and green switches yet? Hint, hint. Oh, it's your mom's birthday. Not quite Valentine's. $87, wow. I don't have a Yoshi. If you have a Yoshi, you can skip the rest of this level. You don't even remember DK for 64? Oh, then you don't remember the DK rap. DK64 is... It's rough, especially in comparison to, like, Mario 64 and... I wasn't fast enough. And Banjo-Kazooie, which was made by Rare as well. Because, like, one thing is you play as 5 different members of the Kong family, which is cool. But they each have their own unique collectibles. So every banana, there's bananas, banana coins. There's all sorts of banana-related things you have to get. All told, it's like 2,000 collectibles. Yes, it was also by Rare. Came in a yellow cartridge. And had to have the RAM expanded. The game worked just fine. It didn't need the extra RAM, but the problem is that without the extra RAM, it just would crash. Nah, definitely not a playthrough, because, like, that would take several hours. Like, 20. It's going to be a randomizer run in order to make the crowd control work. So, like, I'll start with 2 random Kongs, and we'll just see how many bananas I can get. And, oh, why did I do it again? We're just gonna see how much I can get whenever I figure there's, like, if I die, I'll do a candy spin, and things like that. Which will be aided by the fact that y'all will have crowd control, so you can do things like lower the gravity. Shenanigans will be had. Should be a good time. But yeah, the full playthrough, like a full like 100% of that game is insane because it's like 2,358 collectibles or something like that. It's a ludicrous amount. Any percent speedruns though are hilarious. Was the music good? Yep, the music was good. It was it's Grant Kirkhope who did the music for a lot of Rare things in that era. So he did the music for Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Oop. Oh, double oop. No, it's a very fun game. It's just it has a reputation among the 3D platforming crowd as, why are there so many collectibles? I'm probably not gonna beat this boss. Because I don't have any health to spare. Well, then again, maybe not. Sproing? Okay, Ludwig. That's his name. His name is Ludwig. Look at his hair. We did it! Hey, K-Max. We're doing good. We just beat castle number 4. Big fun Springtoven. And the castle turned into a rocket. Ludwig von Koopa's days of composing Koopa symphonies in the castle of number 4 are over. The forest of illusion lies ahead. Mario must use his brain to solve the puzzle of this perplexing forest. I like shorts. Hi, Inka. Wrong franchise, but sure. They're comfy and easy to wear. Not in this weather. I hope the weather's decent tomorrow, because I gotta schlep over to the cathedral. 5-stream streak? 50 degrees here. There. My goodness. How balmy. Yeah, I think the high tomorrow is 30. I'll just take the subway. It's honestly not that bad. So long as it's not like the snowstorm. Honestly, if it is like the snowstorm from 2 weeks ago, I'd just be like, I'll pass on this one. But it'll be nice. It's the new Archbishop's installation. You didn't pay enough attention. You broke to pay attention. For this, well, they'll probably have like the whole area surrounding the cathedral blocked off, so a cab won't be viable. But I can walk a block, get in the subway, and then the subway will drop me off a block away. I don't know what I was trying to do there. Hey, Craig. But I will have the last mass. Certainly in our church, but potentially in the diocese of getting to say Timothy our Bishop in the Eucharistic prayer. Because I literally have our 12:10 Mass and then I go to the installation. We saw a door. It was over here. Our games had multiple entries on the same console. Which one do you think really showed the beginning of the console to the end? Because, like, Super Mario World looks good, but Super Mario World Chef's Kiss. Yeah, I mean... You know, like, Mario 64 is a classic, and it's good. It is really good. It is also one of the first 3D platformers, period, and the first on the console. And so, like, to look at something like Banjo-Tooie, I know, different franchise, but Mario didn't have multiple ones on that franchise. This Lakitu is tempting me with snacks. You know, there are definitely, I think, in many consoles, especially, I think... Ah, dang it. Now we run. I think maybe the PS2 era is probably the last one to really have it. Because I feel like once you hit the PS3, yeah, some things from the beginning to the end do look a little better, but it's not like a huge improvement. Okay, his cloud is free. We could theoretically get into it. Oh, that's charging Chuck. Super NES was great. Yeah, it's one of my favorite systems, period. Yeah, and PS2, GameCube, same era. Um, but by the time of the PS3, I feel like it was less about getting a grasp on hardware. Because, like, I think that was the trick of older consoles was, like, what does this hardware allow us to do? What are its limitations? What are its unique quirks? Mode 7. By the time you get to the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, well, okay, Wii's kind of in its own category, but that's for different reasons. But, from then on, it's basically just like, okay, what graphics can we make? You were kind of disappointed with the 64. That's fair. Ah! I wasn't paying attention. I was reading chat. And the Rip Van Winklefish. Yes, that's his name. Oh, we chose poorly. Play Quest 64. I don't know anything about Quest 64. Is that on NSO? I feel like I've seen it on there. Wow, that is a spicy take, Hope, about Ocarina of Time. One I agree with you over. I do think Ocarina of Time is good. I think they have made better. No! Like, here's my hot take, and I know not everyone agrees with this, but I think that Breath of the Wild is the best sequel to the original Zelda that we have ever had. Yeah, 7 has a lot... FF7 has a lot of nostalgia to it. Which is valid. I mean, it's an impactful story, and, for a whole generation, played at an impactful time in their lives. Ah, dang it. I failed to thread the fish. Yeah, I mean, I would not mind. Like, I do love Breath of the Wild. I greatly enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. I would not mind the next Zelda game being a more classic 3D Zelda. Like, I think that's kind of the interesting thing about Zelda in some ways, is that as a franchise, it really does encapsulate a lot of genres. Or really, I guess, subgenres of, like, the adventure game. You grew up watching those, never played fully. Majora's Mask is really good, and it has some really fun dungeons. It is weird. You should play them sometime, though, Ika. They're fun. Ah! Rip Van Fish got me again. No! No, 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 no! I don't know how I survived that. One Zelda game I can never beat is Skyward Sword. And it's not because it's too hard. It is because my game copy is actually glitched, and I am incapable of proceeding further. And I don't want to replay the whole game. Just to get to that point to find out again. Butter spread? Marjorie's mask. No, that's good, Marjorie's mask. I might... Ooh, could I... We only have PC. Now I'm tempted, KMax, to try and make that a medium or ton Quizlet round. Like, take a game, particularly a subtitle, change it into butter-related jokes, like Marjorie's mask, and the contestants have to guess what it is. This round sponsored by Paula Deen. I do have some written notes for the next medium or ton Quizlet, but that probably won't be happening until April-ish, given how they're quarterly-ish. Last one was January. Oh, we got a little Super Nintendo slowdown there. I can't believe it's not Persona 6. Metaphor ReFantazio. That's perfect. Trivia stresses you out. Oh, I wouldn't worry about being stressed out on the medium or ton Quizlet. It's more about having a good laugh than actually doing well, because the questions are intentionally just so bizarre. Boops, boops! Hey, Mel. I love that all of those were 100% real taxonomical names. You're a great personality hire. Done. But yeah, you could ask Mel her opinion of the medium or ton Quizlets. She's been in all of them. In fact, I think she's the only person who has been in all 3 of them. No, I did not mean to throw Yoshi away. I don't know why he decided to just run away there. Is there part of a mass where you say something like, whom all the worlds could not contain came into our hearts to say? That kind of sounds like a Christmas antiphon, or not antiphon, preface. Yeah, she's seen it up with Hal. It was great. No! Momentum! I didn't know that jumping to the bubbles killed your momentum like that. Yes, you had a great team name. It was like a Texas British joke. Google Docky. Why are there so many charging chucks? I just gotta beat the level. I just gotta beat the level. Union Jacked and Loaded. That's right. Ah, such a good name. Excuse me? Mario. Except that's not the right exit. This is what the Forest of Illusion does to you, chat. It laughs. Hellsma is making Gludak full of fake accusations to repeat on April Fools. Oh, that is actually a really funny April Fool's joke. Especially since I'm guessing Hal is in on it. Oh, it's Melon. Oh, okay. Now that could go poorly, but if he's fully in on it, that would be hilarious. It's time we address the allegations. No! Oh, he's been saying the allegations for a long time. Abandon the Yoshi. No! I didn't want to. Where's my friend? Refund you 2,500 points? Why? Did you redeem for a father joke? Because if so, that was not the... And I missed it. That was not the father joke. That's literally what Hal calls them. Oh, you just want compromise. What do you mean? Why can't I break these? The spin jump is supposed to break those. Do I have to be big to do that? You want points to make me eat candy? Okay, we know where the secret is this time. We just have to get there with a mushroom. No! No! Oh, no! That went from bad to worse real quick. You know, I should make a channel point redeem that's compromise. But I think it would be really funny if it did nothing. The new points hole. Compromise has been reached. We fed the points hole. Did I hear compromise? Yeah, I'm thinking of making it the new points hole. You're so close to a candy spin. Uh-oh. I'm so glad that's not set to be something that you can pool resources on. Will pulling points result in fewer spins? More or fewer spins? Probably more. Unless I set the bar, like, really high. But then, you know, if the bar is really high, we never see candy spins. You know, what's the point of having all the candy? I gotta lock in and focus chat, by the way. I'm sorry. Okay. I hear King Kitty, no. More per day, but fewer overall. But wouldn't more per day, by definition, mean more overall? Need a mod to award you extra points. That would be breaking Twitch TOS, which would get me banned. Yeah, what, 4 on Tuesday? We did have 4 on Tuesday. It was a lot. Yeah, the Medium Return Quizlets actually just live on Twitch. They're kind of a... It's kind of a, as a special event, remains a special event. 38.3k. See, that's why I had the points hole for a while. Lower the points needed? That would make my stomach upset, quite literally. Lower it by 1 point. Mario found his way through... This is a great sprite of Mario all blown up, and it's the only place to use him. Mario found his way through the Forest of Illusion and has put an end to the Roy Koopa of Castle 5. Onward to the dangerous but tasty Chocolate Island. All about you. Yes, I'm the streamer. It's down to 360p. Well, that's really all you need to watch a Super Nintendo game, at least. I'm not exactly playing this with an upscaled 4K mod. This is straight off a cart. Remember the days of 120p YouTube, and we liked it. Maybe 14.7K, totally arbitrary number. You know, my A1C is in acceptable range, but it's a little elevated. And I haven't had the heart to explain to my doctor the candy wheel as a probable cause. Yeah. How? Why was that Koopa in the wrong spot? Man, I haven't taken any of the exits that let you see Reznor. Why are there so many? Look, a 1-up was tempting. Fire, not tempting. I expected the gap to keep moving. PK Fire! But I'm not NES. This isn't on the NES. This is on the Super NES. The SNES. This fishing ghost cheated? I disagree about what happened there. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, we're an hour and a half into stream and Father's in the penultimate world. There's no way this'll take 2 weeks. Then you see me playing here. You're like, oh, never mind. Do the NES. Okay, from Smash all the time. Nice. Although I will admit, I am farther into World than I had anticipated. Although we still have yet to see the Star World. I haven't gone through any of those exits. Mario's got sick ninja moves. Derp. I just got a heads up from one of my priest brothers. The boiler / heating system at the cathedral is broken. Think base layers. Duly noted. That's a little awkward, though, for the new Archbishop. It's like, welcome to your cathedral. The heating doesn't work. Hey, Mithril. Nope. Is Ness a pretty cool character? Does he not afraid of anything? Sounds like the Archbishop is getting a cold reception. Do I need to have a feather to beat this? Surely not. Surely they'd... Oh, no. Oh, I just figured it out. There is... The best way to beat this is with a feather, but, Ghosts who can become blocks is pretty good, too. I need you at the right height. You're so close. I know! I know! We in there! Feel free to steal. I'm gonna just text that back to my brother. In fact, I'm gonna do that literally right now. I will let you know what he says. But it is kind of Murphy's Law. That's like installation of a major archbishopric. First time they've had a new archbishop in like 15 years, because that's Dolan's been here a long time. Now Hicks is not likely to get a red hat until Dolan is no longer of voting age, which is 80. So another 4 years. You can beat this game in under 20 minutes. Nice. I am not that skilled. I know in theory what to do, but I cannot in actuality do it. Say installation because it means something so different in your world. You see, they've got to install the bishop correctly. Because if they don't, they might blow a fuse. Oh yeah, coming from a museum background. Oh, feel the chug. Can you... There are just too many sprites. You can feel what the SNES is cooking. Oh, good. Oh, yes, brother. I wanted that blue shell, but I want to be alive more. New computer, if that lags. This is running on original hardware. That section in particular is just, there's too many sprites. That's some classic Super Nintendo lag right there. Why did I do that? Nope. I know there's another exit if you keep going, but I needed the blue shell. And the Yoshi. This music is so familiar. I mean, Mario World just had some bangers that get remixed into basically every Mario game from here on out. But that's the Yoshi. Nope. I just missed. Sometimes it be like that. The ska mix for Yoshi's Island? Yeah. Well, Yoshi's Island is great in general. It's a shame about Yoshi's New Island. Ah! Got kind of greedy there with everything. I don't know why I did that. Tell you what, chat, I'm just gonna beat the level normally. And then we'll go for the secret exit. Never mind, I found a feather. Everything's great. Except I'm really bad at flying. He respawned? I feel cheated. I could go back to secret area and get a Yoshi and then just do it the easy way, but where's the fun in that? Yeah, I got on that platform and I fell off. You know what? Maybe it's secret. The secret path is, or secret area is the answer. Give ourselves every advantage to do this correctly. That was close. I was like, if there's a box here, there must be something below it. Just barely. There. That wasn't so hard. If you go out the other way, you just go in this oval loop. Gotta get the high score. Oh, I thought that had a bridge. I legitimately thought that had a platform to walk on. I thought I was just being artistic. Ghost of Titania, hello! Welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, all these fireballs and this pillar are just in terrible sync. Who designed this castle? Oh, is Titania from your community, Inca? That's awesome. I'm trying to think if there's a magic card called Priest of Ghost of Titania. There's Priest of Titania. There's Titania. She's afraid of Neko. Oh, awesome. I do love that those guys are called Thwimps, because the big ones are Thwomps. It's Reznor! You can tell because the piece of wood says Reznor. Yeah. All right, I think we'll call it there for the day, just because, like... Wait. Hold on. For Inca. My priest brother, Father Eric, says, haha. He probably actually let a good chuckle for that one. But I think we'll call it there just because of, like, how saves work in Super Mario. You have to beat certain levels to get saved. It's weird. Anyway. Next week, we will beat this, and we'll also do the Star Road. Well, we'll start the Star Road. I don't know if we'll beat the Star Road. Star Road's a whole thing. So, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. Got to snooze these ads so they don't interrupt the outro. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Join us again on Monday for more Pokemon TCG. Tuesday, starting up Kina, Bridge of Spirits. Wednesday, midweek Minecraft, working on the church. And throwback Thursday, more Super Mario World. And Friday, a week from tomorrow, bonus stream, Donkey Kong 64, probably starting 1-ish, I'm thinking. 1-ish, 2-ish, somewhere in there. And going until maybe like 5 or 6. We'll see. But it's going to be Donkey Kong 64 with crowd control, so you can mess with me. So yeah, that should be fun. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. And again, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. And let's see who's live that we can raid into. Oh, we haven't raided Samson in a while. I like Samson. I think he's a funny guy. Raid call is Father Raid. Use any emotes you got or want. And again, hope you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Take care. God bless.